You know who you are, and this is exactly why you're on YouTube. You might be wasting time, you might be looking for productivity tips, but right now I'm going to lay it on the line with you, and we're going to talk about some daily habits that I want you to get into. One of them is going to be stop browsing YouTube all day long, but some hardcore daily kick-ass habits I want you to get into if you want to transition your life from an observer, from a follower, from kind of a meek person to somebody who lives more fully, who is in better shape, who wants better habits. And that's primarily what we're going to be talking about today here on the Stop Doing Nothing show, is how to build better habits. And specifically, we're going to be talking about my habits, the things that I have learned, because that's the only experience I have, and the things I want you to take away from my experience, from my good experiences and from my bad experiences. So in my notes here, I've made a list of habits that I have now that I do on a regular basis, the habits that I'm working on, and kind of my mindset involved when it comes to changing my habits. So for those of you who have never ever watched before, my name is Patrick Almond. I run Stop Doing Nothing headquarters here in the middle of the country in Oklahoma City. And we have a regular YouTube channel, a regular podcast where we talk about things like motivation, how to be highly productive, how to start and run a business, how to make a bajillion dollars in the next 10 minutes. We talk about all that stuff. And sometimes I just lose my mind and talk about whatever the hell is on my mind. Quick reminder, you got to say it. But if you find this productive, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And if you are watching this on YouTube, subscribe below and click the little bell, ding, ding, to ring it. And so you get notified when we upload new videos, because I get jazzed making these, but a better way to say it is I get jazzed by helping you. And it really, it kind of helps me. It helps me learn to be a better person when I teach what I know. And that's always how you can get better at something, is by teaching what you know. So subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on Libsyn, subscribe on Spotify, subscribe on all those places, and definitely subscribe on YouTube. Okay, how to be a highly productive person. What habits? Why do you even want to do this kind of stuff? Why would you listen to some random stranger on YouTube like me when it comes to being productive? Well, I'll tell you why. Number one, I've been around the block a minute or two. I've probably got a couple decades on most of you watching here, even though you can't see it, because I did shave my head today. So every time I shave my head, I shave off about 20 or 30 years. But I've got experience at this stuff. And the stuff I'm going to be talking about today is the stuff that I live and breathe. Okay, they are my habits. I have them, I'm not going to say every single day, because that would be lying to you, but man, I have them most of the time. And these are the things that I've adopted over the decades that are making me a better person, that are allowing me to make more money, that are helping me get my body in shape, that are allowing my physically to be in just a better mood and have more energy. And that's what I want for you. I want you to take away from this stuff not only the mental and the financial and the business benefits, but the physical benefits. Because as I'm going to talk about here shortly, if your body is not in a peak state, if your cells are not regenerating the right way, if you're not hydrated, if you don't have the right nutrients in your body, nothing else matters. You can't work on your mood if you're sluggish. You can't work on your business or your finances if you're chowing down on half a gallon of ice cream every single night, because that ice cream and that sugar is going to drag down your energy level. So physical stuff we're going to talk about first, and then we'll get into the mental and psychological habits, okay? Like I said, my name is Patrick Almond. I've been running a digital marketing agency and Stop Doing Nothing since 1998 when I founded it here in Oklahoma City. And this is me. This is my show. Strap on board. Here we go. The first habit I want you to change, or the first mindset I guess I want you to change, is to think of your life and to think of your day and to think of your week as more of a continuous cycle of 7 days versus, the kind of capitalistic society we have where we work 5 days and we take off 2 days. That's something I really like to think of is when I used to work for a big company, because I used to work for IBM, I have no problem saying it. I mean, you think about it, most of our work is you work really hard for 5 days and then you sit on your ass for 2 days, and you work really hard for 5 days and you sit on your ass for 2 days, or you work really hard for 9 months out of the year and then, the 3 months in the summer you take it off. We've got to change this mindset. Number one, that your week is a 7-day week. 7 days or 24 hours for you to be productive. I'm not going to be that guy that says you have to be productive every single hour of every single day. But as you start building habits, I want you to think of them as 7-day habits, not as 5-day habits. So if you choose to start getting up early, you are going to do that 7 days a week. If you're going to choose to eat a certain way, you are going to do that 7 days a week. Maybe a cheat day. The Rock even has a cheat day. You maybe do 6 days a week and you take off Sunday. But think of these habits as lifestyle habits, not something that you're going to do and then take a break. You're going to do and take a break. I'm all for taking breaks when it comes to fitness. I'm all for taking breaks when it comes to nutrition. And what I try to do is I try to plan that stuff into my life so that even though I'm taking breaks on those things, it's something I had planned and defined. It's okay. And like I said, a very good example of this is follow The Rock's social media accounts. He has a built-in cheat day where he eats pizza and all kinds of other things. But the other, 80% of the time, he's busting his ass. So think of your day as more of a 7-day week versus a 5-day week. Yes, 5 of those days may be dedicated to the man or a corporation to be working. But if you're going to get up at 5 or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock on those days of the week, please do me a favor and don't sleep in the other 2 because you've got shit to do. That's why you're here, right? You wouldn't be here if you didn't have shit to do. And that's what I'm going to show you to do, is how to get that shit done. Okay, so first of all, you're going to treat yourself like a 7-day machine, not a 5-day machine. Second of all, fitness. I cannot emphasize this enough. And you know what? I'd be very surprised if my video right now was the very first video that you have watched on fitness. You have probably watched 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 50, or 100 videos on fitness, okay? It's a dead horse. I don't know how much more I can beat on it for you. Now, from those other videos, you may have taken away some good habits, and you may have your fitness game on lock. And if you do, fist bump to you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and I'm very proud of you, even though I've never met you. However, if you're the kind of person who's watched some other fitness stuff, by the way, not a doctor, disclaimer, I could be a complete idiot on this stuff, but if you're this person who's watched other videos on fitness or nutrition, and you still haven't adopted your habits, or you still haven't kind of made a change to your lifestyle, then, I really feel like reaching through this lens and slapping you, because that is just, it's ridiculous when you know that things are affecting your well-being, when you have the education and you don't take advantage of them. So my push for you today is to, and that may be the only thing you get from this video, is if you know that your eating habits are horrible and you know your fitness habits are horrible, then stop this video right now and go clean out your cabinets. And I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious, and I've pushed people to do this before. I want you to go clean out your freezer from ice cream. I want you to go clean out some of the crap carbs you've got in your cabinets. I want you to go take anything you have which remotely represents sugar and pour that shit down the drain. Just do me a favor. Just put a hard stop. The minute you stop putting, 5 tablespoons of sugar in your coffee, the minute you stop eating a half a gallon of ice cream a week is the minute that you are going to feel a physical change. None of the other stuff I'm going to talk about today matters if you feel like crap. And I'm dead serious about this. This is important, especially important if you're like me and you're a little bit older. Energy matters. The sugar matters. Carb highs and carb crashing is no joke. I kid you not. I just had a high protein lunch a little bit ago, and thank goodness I made sure that there were no carbs. Because if I have any carbs, this is one thing I've learned about my body. If I have any carbs, if I have like a teaspoon of potatoes or a teaspoon of home fries or hash browns, that will hit me hard. And I couldn't make a video like this. I would sit at this desk in my office and I would be drooling and my face would be down on the table because that carb high and that carb low hits me hard. Carb coma, that's what it's called. I am big time into carb comas. If I ever have carbs, they just knock me the F out. So do me a favor. Find somebody who's a lot smarter than me when it comes to nutrition. I can talk about the basics. You got to hydrate on a regular basis. I try to down 100 ounces of water a day. Don't always do it, but I try hard. I take in my nutrients a day. I monitor, not strictly, but I monitor a little bit what's called, I think you're called your micronutrients, or all the individual elements you're supposed to take in, like your vitamin A, your vitamin B, your vitamin C, your protein, your carbs. All that stuff I try to keep an eye on. I don't follow it to the letter, but I do know for my particular body type, which is kind of a older, heavier, muscular guy, for me to lose weight, for example, I have to be high on the protein pretty decent on the fats, but very, very low carb to get my body to burn the protein and to burn the fats instead of the carbs. But there are websites out there that go out there and determine your TDEE. And I believe, I'm not quite sure. Let's see, what is TDEE? I looked it up before. TDEE is, there we go. As a matter of fact, TDEecalculator.net is the one I've used. And yeah, you can go in here and you put in your activity level and your age and what you're striving for, and it helps you set those goals. And I did that, and I took that shortcut from my iPhone in Safari, and I dropped that on there. So it's like a shortcut on my iPhone or my iPad that I can always pull up and say, oh, what are the micronutrients I'm supposed to be eating every single day? So you know what? Like I said, just go research health. Start taking care of yourself. The water, you almost can't have too much water, and you almost can't have too much protein. I think for my body weight, I'm supposed to have like between 200 and 300 grams of protein a day. And I've talked to a nutritionist, and I cannot get that much in my body. But I'm going to tell you, I am trying damn hard to get there. So none of the other stuff that I'm going to talk about for the rest of this video matters if you are not hydrated, if you don't have the energy, and if you are in a crappy mood because of a carb coma. So hopefully I've been on you enough when it comes to protein, when it comes to nutrition. Let's move on to something else. Another habit I think I want you to start getting into that I've noticed that has helped me is we have to be careful about living by somebody else's priorities or living by our inboxes. And by inboxes, I'm talking about your text inbox, your Facebook inbox, your Instagram inbox, your email inbox, your telephone inbox. You have to shift, and and don't fault yourself, by the way, if that's what you live by, because we've all gotten in the habit of doing that. We just check all of our inboxes in the morning and at lunch, or maybe every hour, or, maybe it's the last thing you check before you go to bed, and we're just used to knocking off things off those inboxes. Well, all of those inboxes, you have to remember, are other people's priorities. OPP. You know what? That's your problem right now. If you're down with somebody else's inbox, or if you're down with all the stuff in your inbox, you're down with OPP, other people's priorities. And if you constantly live by other people's priorities from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed, then you are never going to hit your priorities. What I would suggest you do, as a new habit, what I want you to do is to find some kind of system where you can lay out your priorities. And that is the beginning of your day. That's the beginning of your week. You look at your priorities, whether it's to write a book, whether it's to lose 20 pounds, whether it's to bench press, 565 pounds. Start centering your day and your life around your priorities. And one of your priorities may be, work on the boss's stuff, or check email, or drink water. One of your priorities can be customer service and helping other people. But the center point, or the focal point, where you start looking at life and the glasses you wear when you're seeing how things are done, are your priorities. Your YPP, not your OPP. I'm gonna admit that sometimes I still get in the habit, and I have to be careful of it, of falling into OPP and looking at other people's priorities as mine, but that's not always the case. My inbox, my Gmail inbox, is not the same thing as my priorities for the day. All the inboxes or tasks I have to follow up with for somebody else, they are part of my priorities today, but they are not my main priorities. If I've got an email in my inbox and I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I've got 5 or 10 emails, my first priority should not be to answer those emails or resolve those issues. My first priority should be my priorities, which is taking my vitamins, taking my nutrients, stretching, hydrating, getting some protein in me, and then I will get to the OPP. Then I will get to other people's priorities. But my new habit in the morning, and the habit that I would encourage you to follow, is to work on your priorities, not somebody else's priorities. Get your mind right for the day when it comes to center on your priorities, not other people's priorities. Okay, we've got nutrition, we've got OPP. Something else I want to talk to you about was the importance of a consistent schedule. And my consistent schedule, I'll tell you right now, is usually 5 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week, until 9 o'clock in the evening. And what I like to do, and I love the fact that they did this because I'm a big Apple fanboy, is I have phone actually set up to remind me of these times. My phone has an alarm that says 5 o'clock in the morning is when you wake up, and then my phone says at 9 p.m. is when you go to bed. Now, the cool part about this is what Apple's really good at is helping you block notifications, helping you block things that are nagging you when you're in that time period. So my Apple phone knows, for example, that only emergency text messages and emergency phone calls get through after 9 o'clock at night. And then nothing comes on and notifies me and nags me before 5 o'clock in the morning, unless I choose to change that. But so not only do I have alarms set, but Apple's kind of geared its whole infrastructure, and it carries over to your computer and your laptop and your iPad and your watch. It kind of is centered around that whatever the hour time frame you choose to enact or you choose to use. This is one of the many reasons I'm a big Apple fanboy right here, is because I can kind of control that schedule. And what it also does, which I really love and I would encourage you to take advantage of, is Apple is very good about reminding you what apps to use and helping you place time limits on apps, which is especially true in our day of social media. We all know that it's very easy to pull up an Instagram account or a Facebook account and get lost in everybody else's stupid dances or challenges or jokes or pranks or stupid news stories. The Apple infrastructure helps you with those habits, is what it does. And so get in the habit of taking advantage of the tools. Hop into your iPhone settings, and Android, by the way, it may very well have the same thing, but hop into your Android settings, your iPhone settings, and look at your screen settings and set limits on those. Set limits on when you SMS and who notifies you. Set limits on your social media time. Set limits on your email time. And what you'll start to notice is that the iPhone will come up and it'll block you. It'll say, hey, you know what? It's 8:30 at night. You have to start getting ready for bed. Let's shut down email. And I love those reminders. Otherwise, I'll just blow through my typical deadlines or my typical hours that I want to set up. So get in the habit of taking advantage of technology and bracketing your time and saying, when's the wake time? When are we going to do these things? And then pay attention when the technology says also to shut it off. But getting back to one of the things I said earlier about living your life as a 7-day week versus a 5-day week, I also want you to get in the habit of, if you're going to wake up at a certain time, do it 7 days a week. I don't care what the time is, if it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 5:30, say you're going to wake up at that time 7 days a week. Number one, your body's going to get used to it, so pretty soon you're not going to have a choice. You're going to be waking up anyways. However, what this is going to do is, if you are someone who's stuck in the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday grind, what this is going to help you do is wake up on the weekends and work on your game, work on your productivity, work on your goals, work on your life. Most people are tempted Saturday or Sunday to sleep in, to nap, to get to it later, or they'll get to it next month. No, I would highly encourage you to wake up at the same time on the weekends that you do during the day. Don't want to live by OPP, don't want to live by other people's priorities. The last thing I think I want to talk to you about today is the importance of using technology tools to track and log your life. Obviously, like I said, there's apps for this stuff. There's apps that will help you set your goals and track this stuff. But it's very important for you to put those apps and those websites and things like that front and center. One of my favorite ones is an app called Everyday, and there's also a Chrome browser plugin. And with Everyday, what I have set up is I have set up like 5 or 10 things that I want to make sure I knock out every single day. And this goes in line with something I've heard of before called the X Factor, which is where you basically, your goal is to check off something every single day, and you get in this habit because you don't want to break the habit. So if you're gonna check off the fact that you drank 100 ounces of water yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before, you're going to be more inclined to drink that water today, just so you don't break the chain. Same when it comes to eating healthy, or same when it comes to exercising, or same when it comes to weighing yourself, or same when it comes to prospecting for your business. Once you start using a tool like Everyday, where you are checking off things every single day, X, you don't want to break that chain. And it feels good. Let me tell you, when you see that and you see things checked off, it feels really good. I love lists. I love marking things off of lists. Now, am I 100% on it? Do I do it every single day? No, there are some days where I just skip. For me personally, it's really bad when I travel. It's really hard to, exercise when you're traveling. It's really hard to do 100 push-ups in Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, but I've done it. I'm starting to get to the point now where I figure out where I can exercise in the airports and when I can't. And for example, I can tell you there's just one staircase in Dallas-Fort Worth Airport that has a lot of stairs. Like if I'm stuck in that terminal for 45 minutes, an hour, I'll go hit those stairs quite a bit. And I'll be able to close my move rings. I'll be able to close my exercise rings on the Apple Watch. So do yourself a favor and get in the habit of using a tool that allows you to set some kind of daily habit, some kind of daily routine where you can mark off things and so you can reward yourself and see the results of, small daily habits. I think mine are set to exercise 30 minutes a day, eat a serving of vegetables, drink 100 ounces of water, balance my checkbook at least once a week, weigh myself in on Sundays, just very simple things. And I just, open up the app before I go to bed every single day and I mark it off as, I skipped it today, I didn't hit that one. Or, I did hit that. And then you get that continuous line and it just feels good. It feels good to be able to hit a consistent habit like that and see it visually. Like I said, I think it's called the X factor, and it's kind of the adrenaline or the endorphins you get from, hitting a regular habit like that. So, as a quick recap, check out your notes. Number one, I want you to treat your life like a 7-day-a-week life, not a 5-day-a-week life. And this is going to be hard because when you have like a 5-day-a-week job and you're working 12 hours a day and you're exhausted, your ass is not going to want to get up on Saturdays. I absolutely promise you that. But remember, you are on this planet for bigger things, bigger purposes, bigger habits, bigger goals. And so you are going to have to bust your ass a little bit and wake up early on Saturdays or Sundays because, while everybody else is sleeping, you're going to be awake working on that stuff. Body, health, hydrate first. Cannot emphasize this enough. None of the other stuff in life really matters if you do not feel good. And I can tell you, I feel so much different when I'm well hydrated and when I'm stretched. And I even feels better doing stuff like making this show for you, making this podcast for you when I'm hydrated, when I'm feeling good, when I've stretched. It puts a bigger smile on my face, and I have more energy to talk to you, and I have more energy when I talk to my clients, and I have more energy when I travel. It's just, I cannot emphasize how important it is. By the way, I would also say that it's very important for your loved ones and for your friends for you to stay healthy also. Nobody wants to die early by choice, okay? I want to live as long as possible for me, for my grandchildren, for my children, for my wife. I want to live as long as possible. And so I almost feel like obligated that I have to take care of myself when it comes to these things. Body first. And then we're going to get into things like we talked about, like living by your priorities, not OPP, not other people's priorities, but YPP, your priorities. So don't center yourself on your text messages or your email inbox or your Google inbox, same thing, or your social media inbox or your social media notifications. If I haven't mentioned it, by the way, turn off all social media notifications. You do not need to get an email every single time someone likes your kitty picture on Facebook. You do not need to get an email every single time somebody likes your Instagram silly dance. Turn off all that crap. For the love of all that's holy. You do not need to get emails from social media sites. You're going to be spending enough time on them already. You do not need new emails and new texts from that stuff. I want you to get up and go to bed at a consistent time whenever possible. Sometimes travel or life, may not allow this, but please do it as much as possible. And I also want you to start tracking and logging your life. I'm not going to talk about goal setting or habits or, goal habits this particular video because I've made several other videos on that. But I would encourage you to use something where at the end of the day, number one, where you kind of have your daily habits or your weekly habits lined out, but at the end of the day or at the end of the week, you can mark those off and say, bam, 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 they are done. And you get that X factor going, you get those endorphins going, you get that adrenaline going, and you want to do that stuff. Good habits and repetitive routines and checking things off begets more good habits and building better routines and checking things off. And pretty soon this stuff starts to snowball and you do not want to stop it. That is personally what I've learned from this stuff. Hey, if this has been useful, do me a favor, leave a review of the podcast on iTunes or on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, by all means, please, please, please subscribe and click the little bell below, ding, And you know what? Go watch the other videos. I've got plenty of good ones out here. I've got plenty of playlists. Also, I would encourage you to follow me on social media. My name is Patrick Allman everywhere, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. It is not hard to find me. I'm a pretty vocal guy. As always, thank you for watching, and please make sure you do more than just watch. Please make sure you act on the stuff I've given you today. I don't want you to waste what we've been talking for, about half an hour or so, 25 minutes looks like. I don't want you to waste the time that you've put in, that you've invested in yourself today. I want you to actually take action on it, take notes from it, and next week at this time, you may be able to come back to this video and leave a comment that says, hey, Patrick, that one good thing you said there, that was useful, and this is how I've changed my life. Nothing would make me happier. I've made 100 or 200 videos and put them online, and this is why I do it, is so you can change your life and get yourself into better goals and better habits. As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, review, hit me up online with a comment about what you thought with the video, and until the next one, take care, and thank you for watching the Stop Doing Nothing show.